Hello everyone and welcome to class of Certificate Manager. Today in our class of Security, Identity and Compliance we are going to discuss about Certificate Manager. So in Security, Identity Compliance in AWS Management Console, under this we are having Certificate Manager. Now what is Certificate Manager? That means it handles the complexity of creating and managing SSL TLS certificates on your websites and applications. We can use certificate which is provided by ACM or certificates that we import into it. We have various concepts in this. Like these are the various concepts. The very first is certificate authority. Certificate authority is an entity that issues digital signatures or certificates. Certificate authority issues signed digital certificates that affirm the identity of the certificate subject and bind that identity to the public key contained in the certificate. Then we have domain name system. It is a hierarchical distributed naming system for computers and other resources connected to the internet or private network. Domain name is a fully qualified domain name, FQDN, is the complete human readable name for the computer or other resources which are connected to the internet. If we talk about encryption is the process of providing data confidently. Decryption reverses the process and recovers the original data. Unencrypted data is a typical called plain text, which whether it is a text or not. Encrypted data is typically called as ciphertext. Public key infrastructure PKI consists of hardware, software, people, policies, documents and procedures which are needed to create, issue, manage, distribute, use, store and revoke digital certificates. Then we have root certificate. It is basically a certificate authority which typically exists within a hierarchical structure that contains multiple CAs with clearly defined parent-child relationship between them. Secure sockets layer SSL and transport layer security are cryptographic protocols that provide communication security over a computer network. HTTPS stands for HTTP over SSL TLS, a secure form of HTTP that is supported by all major browsers and servers. All HTTP requests and responses are encrypted before being sent across a network. Symmetric key cryptography uses the same key to both encrypt and decrypt digital data. Then we have trust. In order for a web browser to trust the identity of a website, the browser must be able to verify the website certificate. Browsers, however, trust only a small number of certificates which are known as CA root certificates. So these are some of the concepts in Certificate Manager. Now, what are the services that are integrated with Certificate Manager? ELB, Elastic Load Balancing, Amazon CloudFront, AWS Elastic Beam Stack, Amazon API Gateway, and AWS CloudFormation. Elastic Load Balancing automatically distributes your incoming traffic across multiple EC2 instances. It detects unhealthy instances and reroutes traffic to healthy instances until unhealthy instances has been restored. Amazon CloudFront is a web service that speeds up distribution of your dynamic and static web content to end users by delivering your content from a worldwide network of edge locations. Then we have Elastic Beam Stack. It helps you to deploy and manage applications in AWS Cloud without worrying about infrastructure that runs those applications. With API Gateway, we can publish, maintain, monitor, and secure API operations. AWS CloudFormation helps you to model and set up your AWS resources. So these are the services which are integrated with Certificate Manager. Then we have authentication. Now, access to these requires to authenticate your request. That means whenever we can access these, first of all, we require to authenticate AWS root user, IAM user, or IAM role. Under access control, we can have valid credentials to authenticate your request. But unless you have permission, you cannot create or access these resources. Here in this case, the primary resource is a certificate. Certificates have a unique ARNs associated with them. A resource owner is the AWS account that created a resource. That is, the resource owner is the AWS account of the principal entity that authenticates the request called the resource. You can use IAM to create various policies that apply permission to these groups, users, and roles. We call it as identity-based policies. We have AWS managed policies, which are managed by AWS. We have customer managed policies that we can create and manage in your account. And we have inline policies that you can create and manage and which you embed directly into a single user, group, or role. Next, we have ACM private key security. When you request a certificate, ACM, AWS Certificate Manager, it generates a public and private key pair. The public key becomes part of the certificate. ACM stores the certificate and its corresponding private key and uses AWS Key Management Service to protect the private key. Like we have to creation of AWS Managed Customer Master Key, CMK, encryption of certificate private key using CMK, sending of the certificate and encrypted private key to load balancer and distribution. Then we have decryption and deassociation of the certificate. So this is certificate manager in AWS Management Console under security, identity, and compliance that we had discussed. Thank you so much.